while. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Blog Podcast. I am your host, KeTohn, and we are streaming live. So this evening, we're getting on just to have a conversation about ways that coaches can have better relationships with their clients. So the cool thing about this is that every single person that is joining me for this podcast on the speaking panel happens to be a coach or a consultant of some shape or form, which is really cool. So we have the wonderful Lacole joining us from AL Publishing and Consulting, and she is a author consultant. She also is a publishing coach, a book publishing coach. We also have Tiffany joining us from Radiantly Crowned. She happens to be a life coach. She helps with people transitioning out of toxic, unhealthy, or just outdated relationships and gaining their closure. And then we also have myself, and I'm a business consultant. So what I do is I focus on helping people with advertising, marketing, and branding. My experience ranges in all of those that I just mentioned, also in sales. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. If you're needing any assistance in any of those areas, you can reach out to all of us. Lacole's website is lacolesmith.com. Tiffany's website is radiantlycrowned.com. And my website is bossbabeblog.com. So welcome, ladies. How are you?
Doing well.
Good, good. How about you, Lacole?
She was froze.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought, but I was like, maybe it's just me. Technology. How you doing, Lacole?
I am well. How about you?
I'm doing good. I feel like we've been having a very productive week. It has been very fast paced, but very productive. So I'm doing good. Doing good. All right. So now that we are here, let's get into the juiciness of the conversation. Before you start with your answer, I would love for all of us to just briefly introduce ourselves to the audience so that they can kind of get a little bit of information about us. I did give a brief introduction of what your industries are, but feel free to introduce who you are before you start answering the question. So who would like to go first? What's your take on this?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna introduce myself, even though you have introduced me already. I'm Lacole Smith, the CEO and founder of AL Publishing and Consulting LLC, and Motivational Talk Dialogues and Show. So, what direction would you like me to go with first, darling?
First, I just want you to give one way that coaches, consultants, or mentors can have better relationships with their clients and with the people that they're taking on as clients. Just give us one, and then we'll hop over to Tiffany.
I think the best way for me is listening to what they have to say before you act. Get all the information that you need, and then find a solution to whatever the problem is. That's the best way that I interact with my clients on the front end.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Tiffany?
Well, hello. My name is Tiffany, the Diamond, and I'm the founder of Radiantly Crowned, a life coaching business with a concentration on helping women claim closure and reclaim their identities after toxic relationships. I think that one way to have a better relationship with your client is to show up empty and non-judgmental. Can't be judgmental.
Mm, that's good. That's good. I like both of you ladies' response.
It is
Nicole focusing on listening, and then yours focusing on being non-judgmental. I think that's great because oftentimes we do feel like everybody's supposed to be going at a certain pace, and it's really important to pay attention to who's in front of you and ask yourself, what are all the things that are happening in their lives or in their business, so you can make the right decision for them, not a decision based off of biasness or judgment. Biases might not be a word, but you know what I mean, out of being biased. Um, so for me, hello, Maria. Thank you for joining us. Almost say happy Thursday, happy Friday. Um, so for me, I have quite a few, but I just want to give one and then we can all piggyback off of each other's responses. But my first response that I want to share for any consultants, coaches, mentors out there is that you have to have those hard conversations. Um, a lot of times people don't want to, but you need to have them, and you need to have them directly with your client, and you need to bring things to their attention that maybe they don't see. even if it feels uncomfortable and even if you're worried about how they may perceive you after you have the conversation. Because in many cases, when you hold on to things and you say, I just won't say it because I don't want to be upset, or I won't say it because I don't want to do this, you're hindering their growth. You're hindering their opportunity to elevate. And so, for that reason, oh, okay, of course, of course. So I'm so sorry to hear that. We just got an emergency from one of our podcast guests, so she will have to leave us, but we will make sure to check in on her and make sure she's doing okay. Um, so, but my condolences, and I hope that everything, we'll check in on you, Lacole. But what I do want to say is it's really important to make sure that you have those hard to have conversations. Sometimes you don't want to because you don't want to step on toes. But then you have to remember that this person hired you or sought you out because they wanted you to tell them what they don't see around them or within themselves. They wanted to hear that feedback. And so if you walk around on eggshells, worried about how they might feel and worried about what their opinion might be when you're giving them information that can genuinely help them elevate, you're not going to be able to do the best job. You're not going to be the best version of yourself as a coach. So you kind of have to remove the desire to be wanted or to be liked, and you
Yes.
have to replace it with a drive to be impactful, to be direct, and to be proactive, whether that means proactive with that client or whether that means proactively leaving that relationship so that they can find someone that aligns with them. But proactivity always needs to be the focus, and that has to be the priority over being liked or over worrying about what a person might think. Um, because you'll never know how far you can push a client until you actually have those conversations. And I remember having times where before I had a conversation with a client, I worried that, what if this might be too much for her, or what if she, was a little too intense, or and then when I sat down and had the conversation with them and just gave it to them straight, they were very receptive of it and they just absorbed it like a sponge. And then immediately they started executing what I gave them. And I've had many clients like that, and it was just so quick. I've had people right in during the consultation, they went and changed what I said we needed to work on and change. They had it done before the consultation ended. Now, that's not a realistic goal time frame because unless it's a small goal, but sometimes people really did want to go the extra mile and just get it done like in the moment. And that's just an example of how, if I would have held back that information out of fear of what they might think or how they might feel, we wouldn't have that opportunity for growth so that they can get to the next level for their business. So that's one thing. Don't hold back. Don't spare feelings. You
Yes.
don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be you don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be a bully. You don't have to be mean. But don't spare feelings out of fear of being left or out of fear of the client not wanting to work with you anymore. Because at the end of the day, they hired you for a job. So you need to do what you came to do. And if they appreciate it, they will stay. And if they don't, they will leave and someone else will come in their place who wants to receive what it is that you have to offer. But altering the truth to make people comfortable is not a good habit to start in your professional life or in your personal life.
This is so true. You're doing them actually doing a disservice.
Yeah.
And when you have those hard conversations, if it does put a rift there, then you
Hmm.
have to be ready to accept that maybe this when the our relationship didn't need to go any further anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another, coach out there that they need. But yeah, definitely have those hard conversations. And when I said don't be judgmental, I guess I'm saying don't push your narrative off on them.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're coming there for a reason. Most, yeah, they're coming for a reason. If they've hired you, they're coming to move forward in their business, in
Hmm.
their life, and what you have going on, what you foresee, may not be what it may not be the direction that they need to move. So I
Yeah.
always keep empty and listen, listen. What Cole says, listen. That's the best way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that to an extent, it's learning not to project your own insecurities or your own battles or your own thoughts onto your clients. And that's definitely a thing. another tip that I can give just based off of what you just said is to make sure you're always sharpening your skills, but you need to be taking some level of a class, education, some course on communication as well as professional counseling, therapy. I would take the course. I'm not saying you need to become a therapist or a counselor in order to do your job, but I would recommend taking a class on professional counseling. And the reason why is because there's going to be a lot of moments when your clients come to you about things that aren't necessarily related to what it is that you're doing. And you're going to have to learn how to professionally either redirect or how to professionally receive what they're telling you without projecting. And that goes back to what you were saying. So for me, for some people may not know, but my first business, my branding business, NBC.click, it actually my first business technically was my boutique, right? So I had a boutique and then I had this page called My Beauty Coach on the page. And it was like a mini blog full of like tips on how to take care of yourself and affirmations and quotes and poems. And I would just post those because I was really passionate about helping people feel better. And initially, it was made so that people could go and purchase skincare products because I used to make skincare from scratch. So I used cucumbers, almond, thing like that. And people would purchase a subscription box, and inside of that box, I would ship them products to help them determine what type of skin type they had, as well as samples of some of the products that I've made and get their opinion on how they feel about the skincare. So once I got their feedback, I would then go and create something that was personalized to their preferences or their skin type. And these were all natural ingredients. So that's what I started with. Now, when I started doing this, I started to notice that people would want to talk to me about personal life stuff. Like it wasn't just about skincare. It was like, hey, my boyfriend and I just got into a huge fight and I'm just irritated. I don't know what to do or I don't know how to feel. And I knew instantly that I had to go and just seek ways to polish myself and make sure that I'm not being biased because there was moments where, somebody might say, yeah, my boyfriend, he did X, Y, and Z. And personal KeTohn will want to be like, girl, you better leave him and block everything and delete it all and move out the house. That's what personal KeTohn would want to say. And professional KeTohn and also evolved KeTohn had to accept the reality that number one, everybody does not want the same thing. So what I would want in a relationship, that person may not want. So because I'm thinking you need to block, leave, and delete because I don't want that, that may not be what that person wants. And my boundaries are different than their boundaries. And my religion or my beliefs are different than their beliefs. And so it would be doing them a disservice if I was to project how I feel personally onto them. So for that reason, I just wanted to explore what else was out there. And that's why I decided to get my certification in professional counseling. And I was able to use those tools to better my business because now when I have business conversations, I was able to refer back to some of the tools that I was taught in the professional counseling certification. But then also when emotional conversations took place, I was able to really read people. I've always been really good at reading people and understanding when something might be off or something might be going on. But this gave me an even deeper level of insight. And not only was I able to read them, I was able to think about more options on how I could support them and understand them. Because before then, I can read them and I might have a few options. Um, but now it's like I can talk to a person and I can feel where they're at. I can see where they're at. I can see how they're responding. And I have probably like 10 different ways I could respond back to them that's productive. That's not me projecting onto them. So that did help me. I would recommend if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, make sure that you are sharpening your mental, sharpening your skills, your craft, and going and getting that assistance. Um, and it doesn't have to be $1 million. There are free courses out there. There are courses that are
Yeah.
$10. You can purchase a mentorship with someone. Ask them, can you pay them a monthly subscription to learn and, go underneath their wing? There's so many different ways that you can get this knowledge to just sharpen yourself as a professional. And Chat GPT is free. So now is a different time than before. Like maybe like 5, 6 years ago, I would say, okay, it's a little bit difficult. There's still difficulty. I'm not going to take that away from any entrepreneur. Um, but to a certain extent, a lot of times the knowledge that you receive or how well you're able to produce is based off of how driven you are. Because if you are lazy, you will be struggling with your competitors, because your competitor is on chat gpt looking up solutions, or on wherever they can go, or on Google checking for courses and stuff. So you can't sit and not look for things and then say that you're not getting it when you haven't actually put in that effort to go out there and educate yourself. So that's what I would say. Did you have another one you wanted to share?
No, just piggybacking off that, keeping your skills sharp and staying up to date on information. And there's tons of information out there. I myself am right now in a trauma informed course because I
Mm.
thought, where my niche is, who I want to help, who I aim to help.
Mm-hmm.
I coach anyone, but my aim is women who have lived toxic relationships or getting some sort of closure, because
Okay.
that's who I am. There's trauma there,
Yeah.
and being able to recognize, because no one's going to just sit down and tell you I've been traumatized, I've got this going. Most of the time, some people will, but most I
Yeah.
know it was shameful for me. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole course. It's called Trauma Informed, and most times, I'm pretty good with people, and I'm really good at listening. I'm pretty good when telling when there's something deeper than what you're saying. Pretty good. But what
Yeah.
better way than to go and get that? And it's not a really expensive course.
Mm-hmm.
So I invested. I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So why not have that extra information from some professionals who have been doing it for a while and who already have a doctorate or whatever they have in it, and get this certification so that I can help my clients even further. I
Yeah.
definitely agree on that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then also it helps you to understand your own trauma or your
Yeah.
own experiences, so that you're not projecting those experiences onto other friends, people, clients. It really does help with self-awareness, and development. Because for me, when I took that professional course, it allowed me to dig deeper into why I was the way that I was with sometimes with certain relationships. For example, during the time that I was taking the course was around the time that my biological father passed, and it was during COVID. And I was probably around 20, 24 maybe ish. And it could have been a little bit different, but like in the early or mid 20s maybe is when he passed. What are we in? We are in 26, so about 5, 6 years ago. Yeah, so about 26 maybe. We'll just say 26 to be on the safe side. But when I had got that news, there was a lot of things going on in my life. I was working on my businesses. I was kind of having some relationship difficulties and transitioning out of that. I was exploring new things. I was having letting go of friendships that I thought I would have for years and years. It was a
Yeah.
lot of turbulence, and so when I took this course, I started to really ask myself questions about the way that I acted with people and in relationships. And I realized that because I grew up with my mother, who was just a hardworking woman all around, she worked very hard to provide for me and my siblings, and she didn't have that help from the fathers. So with that being said, and we have different fathers. My biological father, um, he wasn't around, and he couldn't be around when we were younger. She had to make the choice to leave because of the unhealthy dynamics of the relationship and things being physical, getting physical. So I realized that because she worked so hard and she did so much, I have moments where I didn't want to ask for anything because I felt like I was just adding on another thing on top of the list. She never said or did anything to make me feel that way. She never looked at me and said, "Hey, I'm really busy with life right now. I need you to go sit down somewhere." She never said that. It's just that I felt that way because I saw how much she was doing. So there was many times where I needed something or I wanted something or I liked something, and I will just hold back on it and I won't ask for it with people because I don't want to give them any extra work. And when I say extra work, that's I'm the work. I'm feeling like I'm an obligation. I don't want them to feel like there's an extra obligation that they have to fulfill in order to have that relationship with me. So there's many times where I would turn down help or support simply out of not wanting to be a hassle to someone. And that originated from the reality that I grew up with one parent who worked so hard and then the other parent wasn't there. So somewhere in my mind subliminally I felt as if I wasn't a burden. I must be, this is hard. My mother is working extremely hard to provide and take care of me and do all these things for me, and my other parent is not there. So it took a little bit of reflection for me to think about that. And I said, maybe that is part of the reason why when people ask me, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? I just say no and automatically turn it down. No, it's okay. And another reason is because I never want someone to come back and throw something in my face and feel like, well, I did this for you, when in reality, if that was what you were going to do, then just don't do it. So, that was something for me that I didn't reflect on until after I took that course. Oh, I forgot I had this necklace on. It's not making an echoing sound, is it?
It's not. It's
Oh,
not.
okay. Okay, cool. Because for some reason I just felt like it was. I don't know why. I should have left that alone. But but yeah. Can you still hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. But yes, so I started to realize that about myself, and then I had to change my behaviors. And even when I was in the relationship, my partner at the time didn't completely understand what I was trying to say, because there were moments where there were behaviors exhibited that I wasn't willing to accept for the rest of my life. And in those moments, the conversation that I had was, I grew up in a childhood where I did not have that male figure in my life consistently, and it
Mm-hmm.
was my mother. And in those cases, it can be very easy for me to go back to relying on myself solely and not looking to you for that level of support, because that's what was normal. But because I went through that experience, I refuse to accept anything less than outstanding from a man, because I'm not going to use that as a reason. I'm not going to subliminally fall into that trap. I will have the best. And when I would say that, it's like I think that he was feeling attacked. He was feeling like I was projecting the things that I went through onto him, because the responses he would give me was, what does that have to do with me? So now it's my fault, or now I have to do that. Now I have to do. No, 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 no. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is you're not going to be able to do anything less than outstanding with me. And the reason why is because of what I have experienced and what I am not willing to experience for the rest of my life. And maybe had I worded it that way, it would have been a little bit more received, or maybe it really wouldn't have made a difference. But either way, going through that course and sitting down and having those conversations with myself allowed me to really reflect on things that I was missing out on, or things that I was feeling uncomfortable about,
Yeah.
and it challenged me as an individual. So when I got with my clients, it also brought strength to those conversations as well. The same way I focus on valuing myself is also what I focus on for my clients. The same way I focus on having flexibility, like you said, not being judgmental and understanding that people are at different phases in their lives and businesses, is the
Mm-hmm.
same way I was able to translate that into my relationships with my clients. So last, 1 year, a client was here, and then 2 years later, they're there. And when they were here, I wasn't judging them. I wasn't thinking, well, how could you do this? Or why would you do that? I was thinking, you know what I mean? I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking that. I was thinking, you're right here because this is where you feel like you're meant to be for now. But we're going to get you to a different place.
And it
And then
makes
we're going to
sense.
work towards it.
Yeah.
So
Which
that
tells
helped.
me that you were actually, they were progressing, and that's exactly what you want
Yeah.
as a coach, as a consultant. You want to see progress, and you want them to bring that progress out of themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
You want them to fish. You don't want to give them the fish and they
you
don't
don't
know
want
how to do
no,
it. You want
no,
to teach them how to fish.
you want to teach. You want to teach,
Yes.
and that's what I'm so passionate about. And so, yeah, that's why I try to anything that and I'm not going to say anything because you don't want to just go pick up a whole bunch of knowledge and
Hmm.
then you just got all this knowledge and you can't even use it. But what I look for
Uh oh, you muted yourself.
okay, stuff that really pertains to my area. Um, Basically anything that when I look at stuff, I'd be like, is this something that I went through? Is this something that I would have wanted someone to recognize in me um,
Mm,
years ago
yeah.
when I was just sitting back quiet and I wasn't telling anybody anything? I asked myself, what would I want somebody to have recognized in me back
Yeah.
then that could have, and I said this last night, if I had, that could have helped me set the boundaries that I needed. that
Mm-hmm.
could have helped me recognize that what I'm in isn't healthy, not only for me, but not for my children either.
Yeah.
Um, what what would I want somebody to recognize? What credentials or what certifications would they have taken so that they could recognize that in me and tell me or help me get to the next level? So that's what I do, and I think it's very important. Again, I can't dote on it enough. Some
Yeah.
people will get the one certification and not do anything else and stay stuck in
Yeah.
that one, and
Because
then
people get comfortable. We get
get
comfortable,
comfortable.
and you think, well, I got what I need, so I'll just stick where I am. But what they fail to realize is that just like you got what you need in that moment, you still have other steps and milestones to achieve. And the knowledge that you gather is going to help you with each milestone that you get to. So you can't just say, well, I did this, so I'm done. Because just like if you were to take on a client, you wouldn't want them to be like, well, I learned how to do step one, so I'm done. Then you'd be like, we still got work. What are you doing? So, you have to have that same drive for yourself. And then it was something that you said that I wanted to piggyback on. Oh, your passion for what you do, it really does shine when you speak, Tiffany. And I noticed that when I listen to your podcast, that's one of the reasons why I genuinely just enjoy your content. Um, Sometimes there's content that you just kind of scroll past because you're just scrolling through the feed, but I definitely feel like when I see your videos, I like to pause and take a moment. Sometimes I put it on my playlist to come back to and watch when I'm taking my breaks, because you're really talking about experiences that have helped you to elevate, and you can hear that when you're speaking. And I think that every coach and consultant needs to find their why, so that they understand why they are doing what they're doing, and they have a mission underneath everything that they do with their clients. And so for me, my why is people knowing their worth. And it comes from so many different experiences in my life as a entrepreneur, as a woman, as a minority, as a black woman. Um, so many rooms that I walked into where people have underestimated my intelligence. So many rooms that I walked into where people have assumed that they should have what I have simply because of how I look instead of the credentials that I carry or the experience that I have. Um, so many places that I've walked into where I've been able to deliver times two on results, and the person next to me barely delivering one is getting, that
Mhm.
recommendation, getting that promotion. And so I do this because I know what it feels like to walk into spaces where people expect you to shrink simply because they are used to being mediocre. And with that passion came a focus of, I'm going to make sure my clients understand, yes, we have to start somewhere. I'm not saying that I didn't start at a place where I look back and I say, "Ooh, girl, what was you doing?" Because everybody does. But I'm saying that I will value myself through this journey, and I will continue to elevate. The same way they say yesterday's price isn't today's price, yesterday's value and worth is not today's value and worth, because every day that I grow, I am going to elevate. And so that is my focus for my clients. It's for them to realize the professional and the specialist that they are. It's for them to stop feeling like they have to accept breadcrumbs from people. Now, it gets a little deeper when we talk about this breadcrumb statement, because oftentimes with entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't understand what making an investment looks like. You have to make investments, whether it's in your clients,
Yeah.
whether it's in your marketing, whether it's in your brand. You have to invest, and some things are an investment. For example, let's say you do a free service, or you do a free item that you provide. That's an investment because you value what you're doing, and you know that somebody else out there is going to fall in love with it, and they're going to come back and spend money. So you want to make them feel comfortable. You want to make them feel safe. A free discovery call, a free sample, a free session, a free intro, whatever it might be, free ebook. Those are investments. So I don't want anyone to hear this and start being cheap as an entrepreneur, because when you act cheap, your customers feel it. And what I mean by that is, I work with people where I said, hey, we need to do something that's going to wow them. We need something that's going to bring people to this help post and say, I want that. Let's give them something special temporarily for a limited time only, and get all of these people through this door so that when they get in the door, we can show them the value that we have to provide. This individual was like, I can do 5% off. Unless it's 5% off of 500. or 1,000 or something like that. 5% off of $10, 5% off of $20. Like, are you joking? Because average person, the average person, um, really, in all actuality, when a person wants something bad enough, they're going to spend the money on it.
They're gonna spend the money.
They're going to spend the money, whether they
Yes.
have it or not. They're going to spend it. I'll tell you that right now. Because how many people have
Done
you
it.
seen?
What it?
How
I've
many people
done
have
it.
you seen in this world that have walked around with a design or something, and you know in their personal life they are trying to get some help with something? I need you to help me with paying this, but they're walking around in those Louis Vuitton flip flops or Gucci flip flops. You're gonna walk around in them. You might be in the dark, but you're gonna walk around in them.
I'm gonna have them Jordans. I know a guy that had literally, and this is not, he had every single pair that they had put out. He literally had all the Jordans.
Wow.
He was so good that he, this is a lot of people. They put him up for him. He could be the first in the line. He could bypass the line. He could go to work. He didn't have to worry about he was gonna have those Jordans, but he had no car. He had no car.
It's a setback for me. You crack me up.
You have no car. Like, you brag about how many pairs of shoes you have, but and this is not a 18-year-old guy. It's not a 20. This was a 38 to 40-year-old guy. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that everyone has to have a car, but just what you're saying. You got all these. You could actually buy a Benz.
Exactly. And so my point is, the mistake, you know what the mistake is that some business owners make, and not even just business owners, because this has happened in retail, is that they see him, he doesn't have a car, and they assume, oh, he's not going to spend this money on X, Y, and Z. Little do you know, this man has probably spent at least 5 cars worth on tennis shoes, on sneakers. Exactly.
So I was so bewildered by that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I mean, because everybody has their thing in this life that they love. And some people feel like, I'd rather have this than that. And some people just don't know how to prioritize. We don't know which one is which. But what we do know from both of those people is that they're both willing to spend money on what they see as valuable. So I go back to that to say, when that person told me 5%, their rebuttal or pushback to me was, well, we're luxury. And I don't want anybody to think that this is a discount shop because we have a certain image to obtain. Luxury brands give away stuff for free. If you really want to call yourself luxury, you need to have something free when they come to this door. Because when you go into Coach or when you go into any of these luxury brands, you get complimentary things when you go to purchase. You get complimentary perfumes. You get a box with something inside of it. You get treats and chocolate and special boxes created for you to say thank you for being a customer. These are the kind of experiences that people have when they go to a luxury place. So if you're going to hide behind we're luxury and that's why we can't do a discount, you don't have to do a discount. Why don't you do a free something, a complimentary something for people that are shopping with you or people that are stepping in your building? Because at the end of the day, it's an investment and it's a part of marketing. You don't have to always do it. So I don't want someone to hear this podcast and think that I'm saying, when I say, what I said earlier, that means don't spend any money on anything, because that's not what I'm saying. You're going to have to make those investments as an entrepreneur somehow. However, there's a way to do it. There's a right way to do it. There's many right ways to do it. There's not just one way, but there is a way to make an investment while still honoring your worth and respecting yourself and getting something out of that to where it is a mutually beneficial experience for the people that you are serving and the people who are, and you as well, your team. So it's about finding what that right way looks like for you. But it is possible to honor your worth, to know that you are valuable, to know that you are that specialist, to take charge in your role. That's what my why is. Because even to this day, I've walked into rooms and had conversations with people who I could run circles around when it comes to marketing or advertising or business. And they still, for some reason, are under the assumption that they are the expert. Tiffany, I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. And it will be in spaces where they are struggling in. Like, I'm struggling with gaining sales. I've never had a client, or I'm trying to get my first client. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Here's what you need to do. Well, don't you think that you should probably, seriously, seriously,
If you knew, why are you struggling?
exactly. If you knew, if you had the answer, you would have already acted on the answer. But the fact that I'm here means there's a solution that needs to take place. And I can only do that when the person is accepting of that. Because if they always want to be right, they always want to be the expert, they always want to be in control, we're going to be in the same place that we were before I got here, which is no results and no growth, or stagnant or uncomfortable or not seeing what you're wanting to see. I am here to bring that catalyst out of you. I'm here to pull it out of you because you already have it, and you are the catalyst no matter who you are and no matter what you're trying to achieve in your life. You are the catalyst for that.
It's true.
But I'm here to help you pull it out of yourself. And I'm here to make sure that you honor yourself in that process. And I'm here to make sure that you don't allow fear of change and the unknown or pride to get in your way of you being the best version of yourself, for your business and for your life. Those are my whys. That's the passion. It came from experiences that I had of, you know, stepping into this room with somebody, we both going toe to toe, for a position, me outperforming them. And then people still having questions about if, well, I don't know if I feel like you're the right fit. What? Or stepping in a room and someone trying to give me a consultation on what I've come to consult them on. Having a conversation with someone and them assuming that this is me asking them questions versus me giving them directive and instructions for marketing based off my experience. These are things that I have gone through all my life because I started out young. When I started, I got my first store at the age of 21, and I've never worked in an environment with people who were my age. I always worked with people that were older than me, and it wasn't like just by a little bit. It was by 30, sometimes 30 years older than me, sometimes 20 years older than me. And that was a really good experience for me because I got to be around a more mature crowd, but also I got to see how you have to learn how to have internal validation because you cannot look outside for other people to
Oh,
validate you.
man.
So, that's really what it comes down to. And that's what I would say is my why. Going into a room where I say, okay, everyone, today we're going to do a complete revamp of the entire store. I've laid out the floor map. And then you got somebody's dusty uncle walk up to you and say, well, I think the bag should go here instead of over there. Sir, how long do you even do this? Like, you just got this job 3 days
You've been
ago.
here 25 years
You
and you never moved the bag.
right? But the day that I come in, all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of pushback and ideas for how the bag should be set up. Now you just Michelangelo with it. Sit down somewhere. So, experiences like that where I've had to professionally stand my ground and say, I appreciate your feedback, but this is actually instructions. This isn't a collaboration. Today we're going to get this done, and we're going to do it the way that's on the map because it's based off of my expertise and I know what we need for the store. But thank you so much. When we do have a collaborative experience, I'll make sure to bring you to it.
Oh, I know that ate somebody lunch.
Oh, ate them up every time. Ate them up. Called me hungry because I was eating them up. I mean, every single last one of them. I had one lady who was like, well, normally we don't do it like that. And I said, are you talking to me? She was like, oh, yeah, I'm talking to you. Normally we don't do it. We don't put these there. We don't put that there. I said, well, they're not selling. So we should probably change that, huh? Yeah. A lot of conversations in business, in retail, just in environments with people who assume that they know more than you or that they're the experts simply because of appearance. And it wasn't like I was dressing up casual. I was dressing professional like I am today in this business dress. Look at how I dress today and probably multiply that times 3, because in retail, you can be creative, but there are a lot of stipulations depending on where you work. Sometimes it's colors. Sometimes it's how long things have to be. There's dress codes that you have to stick to. I'm able to be a lot more creative now and just free. And I love that for myself because I get to show off the brands in the directory. But I'm not coming to work with my back out. I'm not, not that you can't, and because some jobs will, if you're working at a job where that's okay. But at the places that I worked, I had to dress like a manager, like a store manager, like the person that is in charge. And I had to do that intentionally because I was already younger than everyone that was around me, including the customers. And I had to look like I was older because people associate age with wisdom when
Mm-hmm.
that is not the case. There's a lot of people who have been on this earth for years and they have not picked up a lick of anything. But because they look the part, if you were to look at that elderly man and that young man and you say, which one do you want to be your manager? They're going with the elderly man because they're automatically assuming he has experience. What they fail to realize is that wisdom and experience sometimes boils down to the choices we make. Do you want to take what you experience in this life and take it into something positive? A lot of people don't, and they're still in the same place 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, and they don't have any reflection. And if you ask them, is there anything you would have done differently? Their answer will be no. I did everything I need to do. I'm fine. My life is this. And they'll just be, miserable in life, but they will proudly say those things to you. So, because of that, I had to dress that age, but I was always in environments like that. And because of that, I got used to people thinking they knew more than me, people thinking they would outperform me, people thinking they would get a reaction out of me. I remember working with somebody who basically tried to turn everybody against me in the work environment by making it seem like I was a stickler when in reality he just lacked boundaries and didn't want to tell people what they needed to do. So he just leaned on me to do it and then blamed me for it. So environments like so instead of you saying, you know what, you really have the ability to hold people accountable and your results are good, better than mine. Why don't you take on this role? Instead of you doing that, you just mooch off of what you can mooch off from me to benefit from it and to keep your position and your pay. So I've been in situations like that and I understand what that feels like. And I understand what it feels like when you're an entrepreneur and you almost feel like you're fighting to get people to see your value and your worth. You feel like you're fighting to get people to support you. You feel like you're fighting to get somebody to buy into you or to invest in you. And it's not to say that that isn't going to happen because that's a part of the journey. I just want people to know that if you keep going, you're going to get to that other side where people are investing in you, where people are wanting to spend money on you. And I was in the middle of writing a blog, and some of that blog was, you better stop playing small because if you keep playing small, you're going to miss out on the people that already know you're big.
I
And that's the
saw.
truth.
Did you make that a post? I saw that on a post. Your
Did I?
post.
I don't know if I did.
You
Look, I
didn't
be
post the
going.
blog, but you just posted like a snippet of that, and that is so true.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to
Cowering
stop.
down. You got to step into who you are and walk it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Because
You
there are
have
some people who they know you're valuable. They just haven't seen you yet. They haven't found you. You don't have to, you know, tap dance for them to see your value. You don't have to walk on eggshells for them to stay with you. They love what you're doing. They love everything about you. And they're here to support your growth and your development. And all you have to do is show up so they can find you. It's literally that simple. And when I say that simple, I mean what I just said was simple. It's not easy because there are days when it will be hard, but it is that simple. Show up so these people can find you and support you and rally around you on days when you need that extra love and encouragement. Um, but most importantly, you have to see it in yourself, even on those days when you need that encouragement, because it's not anybody else's responsibility to see it for you. So, yeah, and that's for coaches, that's for non coaches, whatever you want to call it. Um, let's see, are there any other tips I would say for coaches? Contracts. You need to start having contracts if you want to elevate your relationship with your clients. And it's not because you want to have anybody in a bind, and it's not because we're trying to be loan sharks or the lawyers or anything like that. It's because a lot of times we're human and you forget what you committed to and you can forget what they committed to. And you need to have it on paper so that when it's time to go back to their project, you know exactly what is expected. And if you need to send it to them so they can remember, cool. Either way, and you don't have to. That's not a requirement. I'm just saying having it listed off what you're expecting from a person and what you're going to provide, it really does help the experience for you and it keeps you on your A game. So if you don't already have a contract with your clients, start creating one because you need to respect yourself and you need them to see that you respect yourself. so that they can understand the tone that you are setting for people in your environment. And um, you can't be afraid to let clients go because you want to
Oh,
be, yeah.
I've been sitting here wanting to say, don't bite off more than, don't try to take on everyone,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
everyone isn't for you, and you're not for everyone.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, I love the fact, and I'm just using you for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if people don't know, I am a part of your directory. You are my coach, my business coach. Yes, right here, she is. And but I
Right
love
here.
the fact that you interview, what you do a consultation first to
Yeah,
make sure that it will be a good fit for me and for you. I love that.
exactly.
I have been to some workshops where coaches have just, if you got the 10,000, you can just come on in. If you got the 4,000, you can just, but what value is the client getting out of it, and who are you really helping? So
Yeah.
why would you take on people that you can't help? Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Um,
I love
that's a
your
really good
process.
question.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
love it. I do.
Thank you. I think I wasn't always here at this place. Um, at one point in time, I did feel like I can take on whoever's ready to be advertised. Just bring your business forward. Although I will say, because if there's one thing about me that people don't probably don't know, I probably have one of the hardest heads out there on this planet. So if I felt like something was off and I didn't think I could promote or advertise somebody, I'm sticking to my guns, I would refund them their money. Even though it is final sale, it says final sale, just so that people understand once you pay for this investment, it's final sale.
Yeah.
However, if I was to sit down and look at somebody's business upon getting ready to put them out back before I had this application process and it felt off, I will refund them their money, or there will be a limited amount of time. It depends on what off I'm talking about. If I'm saying off as a client, like I don't know if this is going to work, I might try to give them like 6 months and see how that works. If I'm saying off as a business, oh, I can't promote you. That's just down bad. No, if it's not right, I can't promote you. And if it starts going down, I can try to help you and offer you services. But even then, we would still have to pause it off the directory because people who shop my directory are shopping because they trust me and they trust that when I'm promoting people and sharing businesses, that these are people that I would shop with myself. And I'm going to always stay firm in that. But as far as having like a physical application process, I didn't have that for Boss Bay Blog before. And part of that was because I did feel like, hey, I can take on whoever's ready to invest. Because if you're ready to invest, then that means that, you're ready for this next level.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm all about. But what I had to come to the conclusion is just because I might be all about that doesn't mean that someone who's ready to invest is all about that. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People can have the money, but they may
They
not have the
interpret it different.
mindset.
Yeah. And they interpret it way different. You're going to do everything.
Yeah.
You do the
And
money.
that's not the case. I mean, we have services for that. I give a perfect example. I have different levels of services. In my branding business, I have a social media management service where you get social media management, but you're able to manage things too, like to post stuff. And then I have a social media management service where you do nothing. Like you're not allowed to do anything. Like in the contract, you can't touch it. You can't even go in your DMs. That's the contract I have set up. And the reason why is because it's two different types of people in your business. There's two different phases you're in for every part of your business. You're either in the phase where you are, I'm building and I'm working on everything because I don't have that funding yet to delegate everything. So I'm gonna be, in these spaces and I might hire someone and contract them, but I can't bring them on full time yet because I got to build up that revenue. I got to build up that profit. And then you
That
have
makes
the other business owner who's like, I've done the building, I'm tired, take it. And that's the business. I have one for both. So when you are tired and you are ready to let it go and delegate to somebody so you don't even have to think about it, I have that higher price point social media management. That's an example of me doing everything for you,
okay.
social media wise, but that's for social media. So if I get the social media and I do all social media,
Mhm.
that's not including me hosting your events or me going live for you or me selling your products or me designing your website. There are lots of parts of a business that you have to be responsible for until you are able to hire someone to do that fully. And a lot of times people don't understand that and you have to explain it, but sometimes you explain it and they say they understand it, but they don't quite really grasp it and they're still
Mm-hmm.
expecting that you're going to do all of that, I had to make that clear in that application. I also had to make it clear that, are you someone that's really here for that solution? Are you hungry? Because a lot of people say, I want sales. And then I say, this is what you got to do to get it. And then they say, mm,
That ain't cute.
mm,
I don't want that.
mm.
That's not cute.
You said I gotta do what? I got to go live. Oh, maybe I want sales. Let me come back. That's sometimes the conversations that I've had with clients, and you just really have to have that vetting process in everything that you do. So I didn't always have it, but I got to a place where I realized I have to have it because of how hard and how passionate I work for my clients and for my business. It's not, this is not a plaything. You know what I mean? So if you're stepping into this environment, you need to be ready to go. Doesn't mean you need to be perfect, because we're clearly here to help you through that process and help you stay focused and get you feeling more clear, where we block out that noise so you can really just be that creative and that CEO that you are. Um, but we are here to work and we're here to elevate. And I got to make sure the people that are joining are here to elevate and they have a level of, you know, couth about them, because
Yeah.
my customers, even some of them that are business owners, they're also shoppers. And then I consider people who shop with the businesses in my directory my customers as well. If they found them through my directory, they are part of my community. So they're shopping with these brands because they shop with Boss Babe Blog. So it's not like I'm just affecting myself when I bring people to my directory. This affects everyone who's a part of this, the people that you collaborate with. If you're not someone who is responsible, reliable, or communicative, or you leave people hanging, you just ghost, then that's going to be a problem for people who are trying to collaborate with you and trying to like elevate with you, or for people who are trying to shop with you and be serviced by you. So all of these things have to be in consideration. So I appreciate you for recognizing that in my
Yeah.
brand, Tiffany. But it definitely was a work in progress. Like I wasn't always at that place, and part of it was because I didn't envision having 70 plus clients in the directory. I didn't even know I was going to have a directory. This business was a it was made out of love, it was made with passion, but it came from just what I was noticing. Like I kept seeing every time I promote a business that I did a website for, people go shop on the website. So I was like, wait a minute, okay, do y'all have businesses too? You do? Oh, well then we need to be promoting yours too. If you're shopping with people that I'm bringing, you know what I mean? I have to help you. We have to help each other. It just became like common sense. And that's where I said, I want a community where we are dedicated to group economics. And I'm also able to put them in front of places and platforms where they can find new shoppers, even if they're not business owners. So that's kind of how it became that. But I didn't always think that I was going to have an application process. And I've heard people say it before, and I said, do I need an application? No, I don't think I need an application. I need an application. I do. I do. Because you know what's more expensive than the membership? Time.
You can't get it back.
So that
And
five to
the fact
2,000,
that you were
5,000.
able to recognize when it was time to grow. So I would
Yeah.
say that's another thing. You're able to
Yeah.
recognize when it's time to pivot or to grow or to add to or to take away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely would. And you were able to see it, you
Mm-hmm.
implemented it, and you executed it, and you make things known up front. Like
Yeah.
I know everything up front. I knew what I was walking into up front. There was no surprises. This is
Surprise, surprise.
and I love that. I love that part.
Ooh,
Some people
I
won't tell
appreciate
you.
that.
They won't.
Yeah, they won't tell you, and they do it. Sometimes people lack proper communication skills, and I guess that's another tip for coaches. Work on your communication when you are communicating what you are providing to someone and what you are not, because even when you say it, sometimes it may not be effective enough for who you are speaking to. So practice effective communication over desired communication. And then also on the other side of that, what was the other thing that you said? Because there was something else that was on the top of my head. I lost it for a second.
When I was talking about you being ready to pivot and recognizing when you needed to implement what
Yes.
happened, right?
Okay, yes. That, and then also the transparency. That was it. So with the
Yes.
transparency part, you have to have enough courage to say, I'm putting this out, and if they accept it, if they appreciate it, they will join, and if they do not, they will not. But do that, because you don't know how quickly somebody would sign up just because of something that maybe you weren't going to say, but you said it. Now that's the one reason that makes them say, yeah, I want this. You have to have that level of transparency. And then think about, put yourself in the customer's shoes. For me as a customer, um, I don't like when people, I don't like, listen, this might be controversial. Tiffany, I don't like small talk. I don't know if you've noticed that about me. I'm not sure if you've noticed that.
I
Have you
hate
noticed that?
this.
I do not like small talk. I do not. And I'll tell you why. Because for some people, small talk is a manipulation tactic. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you soft and comfortable enough to ask you for something that they know you probably would have said no to if you didn't have that little small talk. So, hey, how you doing? How you been? Yeah, girl, you look cute. Okay, sis, queen. Because people love to call you sis and queen when they about to ask you for something. Love, all of that. They get you nice and buttered up. You feeling all good like a buttery biscuit. And then here they go, slap you with it. You think you can sit down with me and give me a free consultation and show me how to design this, and maybe you could do it for me? No. So I don't I don't like small talk. I like when people are direct. I like passionate talk. I like deep conversations.
Oh, I
I
do
like
too.
meaningful conversations.
Yes.
But what I don't like is sitting down with somebody in space where we are literally dancing around why we are in front of each other. Why have you brought me here today? Why are we sitting here? Don't wait until the end of this conversation to ask me for what you initially came to ask me about, because you're going to waste both of our time. Because if I'm going to say no, I'm going to say no, whether we talk or we don't.
Yeah.
So let's just be straight to it. And that's my approach with my business. It's not to say that I have to be abrasive, like I'm just going to throw it all in your face like that. It's just to say, when a client comes to me or someone is asking questions, you don't have to purchase it first. Go and get a discovery call. We will answer all of your questions there. And if you feel like it's a great fit, then we move forward. But there is no secret this or secret that, or you just need to go and book a discovery call and then go from
And I
there.
love that. That's what I
Thank
love.
you.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's integral.
Yeah,
I would
it
also
is.
say, I won't go long on it, but be a person that people can trust.
Yeah.
If you're coaching somebody, if you're giving advice, they got to be able to trust you. So you want to
Yeah.
keep that integrity there too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I love the fact that you put it out there. Either this is what we're doing, and this you have a part to play, and this is your part, and I'm definitely
Mm-hmm.
going to do my part. What do you think?
Yeah.
So you know what
Exactly.
you're going into.
Exactly. Exactly. That I think I got more and more motivated with that, because what I told you earlier about how people will think that they come into it thinking that you're doing everything. Sometimes it's because people advertise it like they're doing everything, so it's not always their fault. But sometimes they just assume that. So like a person might say,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I need a website." And then I give them the website, and then they're like, "Well, I haven't gotten any sales." I'm like, "What you telling me that for? Like, girl, you ain't hired me to do
You advertise it. You put the
you
link
ain't
out every
hired me to
day.
you ain't hired me to promote the website. You hired me to design you a professional, clear, and crisp website. And this website looks 10 times better than what you had. I promise you. But you did not hire me to market and advertise it. You did not pay for that service. If you want that service, I'll be happy to give it to you, because I love what I do. And when I take on my projects, I'm passionate about them. But that's not what you purchased. So we need to get, that's like me coming to work with somebody and saying, hey, you're not here. I told you I need you from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., but I only paid you for 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. What you look like showing up?
Because I can't come in and tell my
She said, I don't.
they do
so,
it.
so it's the same concept. Like, we have to invest. So if you're wanting that, you got to invest in that. And there's nothing wrong if you can't, or if you want time, or if you want to ask questions, that's okay. But what is a little off is to just assume that you're entitled to it when you have not made an investment towards it. That's where we as entrepreneurs have to make sure we don't do that. And also, even on the coaching side, I'll end with this last message for coaches, but really take the time to invest into understanding your clients. You may not be paying them, but a time investment, it really does go a long way. Um, One thing that I love about the relationships that I have with my clients is that every single client that I've ever had, I have either shopped, promoted, exposed, or referred their business. Um, and I take my time to learn about each and every person's brand. So anyone who has ever sat down in a consultation with me, I could probably tell you at least like 10 things about that person or about their business, because that's how deep I am into, deeply rooted into understanding my clients. And half the time before they even sit down in the consultation, I've already researched them anyways. So, I think that you have to have that level of excitement about working with your people. I'm not saying you have to do free work or start working for free. You don't have to do that. But when you get that client, take the time to understand them. Every client is different.
Everyone. Yep.
I learn that every single day. Like, I mean, I know it, but I see it every single day, because I'll have one client where when she's overwhelmed, she gets quiet. So we'll be talking and then pure silence. And she's like, and I'm like, are you overwhelmed? Yes. Okay, let's slow it down and let's backtrack. Then I have another client. Tiffany is actually like this too. Tiffany is that client. When she gets quiet, she's processing, she's listening, she's taking the notes, she's computing everything that I'm saying. It's not her being overwhelmed. It's just her being focused. She's like locked in. So there's been times where I've said, Tiffany, you good? Like, we good? Because we went through a lot of information. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. Great. Next. So I'm like, so when you learn that about your clients, you then say, okay. So when I'm with this person, I can go a little bit faster. I can take her fast. But when I'm with that person, okay, I got to slow down a little bit because she'll start to feel overwhelmed. And then with this person, because she likes to go faster, I have to make sure I'm matching her pace. Because I have clients like Tiffany. I have other clients who are very fast paced with the information they receive and how quickly they execute it. So I could have a conversation with them today, and that could be executed by the end of this week. And then I have other clients where I can have a conversation and that will be executed by the end of this month. So as a coach, you have to stay on your toes. Your clients keep you on your toes, and you got to stay on them, because I have clients that are moving quick. So I can't put everybody in one box and be like, by the end of the month, we'll all have our website done. And by the end of next month, we'll all have 10 flyers. No, because Tiffany, Leslie, look, I can name a few. Miriam, they're going to have their stuff done by the next day. It'll be finished after we get off the call. So if I did it like that, I'd probably lose my clients, because they're moving at such a fast pace that they wouldn't be able to wait for everybody else to jump on board. Which is why you have to have that balance. And if you're ever a group coach, you probably need to have two different classes. You need to have one for people that are moving at a faster pace and speed. And then you need one for people that they're kind of going at a slower pace. Slower is not a negative thing. It's just the level at which people are able to process or receive the information. They may have already processed it, but are they able to receive it and execute it? How fast are they going to do that? Based off of their lifestyle, based off of their mental, based off of their experience, will determine how quickly they can do that. Some of my clients have worked in other businesses. They've worked 9 to 5s. They do a lot of processing throughout the day. It's nothing for them. When they get a task, they put on the list, they knock it out. Some of my clients, 9 to 5 is not what they do. Maybe they're still getting used to like having a different kind of schedule. So we have to really play around with it. Some of them are stay-at-home moms. There's just different lifestyles for each one. So as a consultant or as a coach, really pay attention to what each of your clients needs. And you got to be on it. And you cannot be afraid to challenge your clients. I have certain clients I challenge a lot harder than I do others. And I might be telling myself, but yeah, some of y'all get way more homework than the others. And it's not because I want to overwhelm you or overload you. It's because I see that your capacity to take this, you have it. And it may be a little bit of a challenge, but you are capable of completing this. May not be all the time, may not be with every single task, but there's certain things that I'm like, this is something you can knock out in your sleep. So yeah, you got to get that done by this week. And you have to be able to recognize that with your clients, because if not, they're going to be sitting in a state of limbo where they feel like they're just kind of floating and chilling. Nobody should be chilling. You shouldn't even be chilling. We should all be. You remember when you on a Saturday morning, you could, I mean, maybe not a Saturday morning, but like a Friday morning or something with your parents, and you just sitting around with your feet up. They like, get up. What you doing? Move. Like, we don't have to work all the time, but we need.
It was Saturday for me.
It was Saturday. Okay, yeah.
Playing them
Saturday
blues.
morning.
It's time to clean up.
Time to clean up. watch your little cartoons, get your little quiet time, because in about 5-10 minutes, mom's coming in with the broom and we all about to get to work. So we can't just be sitting around. But there's balance to it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Did you want to close off in this podcast with a positive message, Tiffany?
Sure. I would just say that um, don't be discouraged as a coach. Don't be discouraged. Keep going. Remember to invest in yourself. When I say invest in yourself, that means invest in courses,
Yeah.
information, read, write.
Yeah.
Um, Show up non-judgmental. Also, and I just have to throw this in here, KeTohn, if
Mhm.
you need some help with your communication, Miss Lacole that had to leave, she is a coach of communication. She's very well spoken herself.
Yeah.
Please visit her site, lacolesmith.com. And you can
Okay.
get help with the communication, oral and written, because she does both.
Yes, she does. And she okay. I'm gonna say
She
that's
does
so
both.
thoughtful of
So
you.
please visit her
And you got
site.
Battle of the Brands too. So I
Yes, yes. Let me get in there. Yes, ma'am. Visit Miss Lacole Smith's site if you want some help communicating and making sure that your clients understand what y'all will be doing and how your relationship will be flowing. She can help you with the oral if you
Yep.
want to speak. I'm even gonna take that one because I would like some help with it because I do want
The
to speak.
motivational speaking course.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she also does written, which everyone's writing books, and I actually think that
Hmm.
everyone has a story enough to write a book, and she has a course for that.
Yep.
TheColdSmith.com.
Yeah. And just like what we were talking about, I'm glad you mentioned that. A perfect example of that investment that sometimes entrepreneurs make. Tiffany has that free session. Lacole has that free future author consultation. You can go to her website and you can click on book. And then on the online booking section, click on that. And then there's going to be a free future author consultation. And if you book that, since Tiffany brought that up and you tell her that Tiffany sent you, then that will count for Tiffany for the Battle of the Brands. So I'm just saying, Lacole, she said she kind of said she was gonna win. I mean, she didn't say it, but she said it. It's whatever though. I'm just spreading news. I feel so messy doing that. I said, let me get in this consultation and tell Tiffany. And now when we get off this, I'm gonna check on Lacole. I'm gonna see how she's doing. And then when I see her for my next meeting, I'm gonna say, Tiffany did kind of say this. This was hers. I never really get to be messy because I honestly, this life is too short to do it, but it's fun to
Yeah,
be messy for the right reasons, for something competitive where we're supporting each other's businesses. So I'm
yeah.
really excited about this. And I can't wait to see who's going to win because the next person will be going against a new directory member or they'll be going against me. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm already practicing. But thank you all so much for joining us at the Boss Babe Blog podcast. Thank you, Lacole, for joining us. Unfortunately, she did have to leave the podcast, but we do appreciate for her joining and sharing her insight. Tiffany, thank you for coming on and just being transparent about things that people could possibly do better as coaches, as consultants. And also, always, thank you for being a member of the directory. I really am passionate about what it is that you're doing. Like, I love the fact that you have your why. And like I said before, we can really see it when you're talking about, your business and when you're doing those videos. It's clear what your why is. So keep
Thank
doing
you.
what you're doing. Yeah, you're welcome. Did the fireworks. Keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. And thank you everyone for listening, for watching. I appreciate you so much. This is season 27, episode 20. We have another episode coming up with me and Nam that's already been published, but it will be officially uploaded to the blog probably by the end of this week. So you guys can stay tuned for that. And then I have 3 more podcast interviews coming up this week with different business owners in our directory. So thanks for listening and watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Oh, and before we go, I was trying to do watermelon theme, but I did not have my watermelon earrings. So I want y'all to know that I put in some effort and I made some watermelon seeds on my lipstick. So if y'all see that little black dot, that's what it is. That's the watermelon seeds. Y'all have a good rest of your night, and we will talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.